and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan read-through podcast. My name is Peter Bond. I've read every book in the main series, however, my co-hosts are reading the series for the first time. With me today is my friend and closest confidant, India Jones.
Hello!
Our producer, AJ Fileri.
Hello.
And the sharpest tool in the shed after Troll Sengar's spear, it's Joshua Baker.
That's right, I'm a box cutter. Use me for what you will, and then snap me, Dad. AJ asked for more energy, and that's what you fucking get.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Josh, did you get a haircut?
I did get a haircut, thank you. I'm also
Beautiful.
shaving my beard off to leave the mustache today. Pretty hype.
Yes.
You should just shave the whole beard, you know?
I look like, it's not good.
I've become like anti-beard. This is my new thing.
You've been anti-beard forever because you can't grow one.
Okay. But anyway, what I was going to say is, you know, this was the first time, so Vanessa sent in that nickname for Josh, and this is the first time Josh read the nickname, and I told him to come up with the best zinger, and it was okay, it was okay, Josh.
I'll do better next time.
Nowhere to go but up.
I just feel like I feel like it's better if he's on his toes, if it's hot and fresh and, All right. No, we're not doing it like that.
I don't know.
I didn't have anything, man. You said hot and fresh, and my mind went to soup, and I was like, that's nothing.
Well, anyway, so this week on the show, we kept our Midnight Tides read through and moving, and we read chapters 6, 7, 8.
Sorry. Imagine if this week on the show, we read something else because we didn't feel like reading Midnight Tides.
We did not want to read that book.
Hey, I had a really great time reading this book, and I'm really having a blast. So
I think it's
me as
pretty
well.
good.
Me too. Same.
I'm really vibing, and I'm excited to talk more about these chapters. Someone want to read this first chapter summary?
Not I, said the fly.
Yeah, I'll read it. Sure.
Yes.
It's the one.
Yes.
It's the chapter with my boy Breeze in it. So
letting him on the show is the best thing we ever did. He's always.
all right, here we go. Chapter 6. In the harbor of Lether, the ships return from the north. An ominous omen carrying shadow wraiths. The new palace has several passages filled with water, and Breeze Benedict is inspecting them. An engineer says that the rat catcher Ormley was lost inside, then he suddenly reappears. They speak briefly, and Breeze leaves his mind on the eater. The palace is discussing the ships that had floated down from the north, and he speaks with the eunuch Nifidus. The eunuch talks about the sea and his beliefs in an elder god of the sea called Mael. He asks Breeze to awaken the elder god, and Sedekura Khan tells Breeze that they can use the dolmen tile for this task. And after some preparation, Breeze is submerged. Bug and Tahul discuss their plans about the moneylender Turble. Bug leaves and Tahul speaks with Shurq about an impending festival. The festival is dedicated to the god the Errant, and it may be a good chance for her to infiltrate Garen Eberic's residence. Together, they then set out to make Shurq more alive. Breeze is underwater, and he sees 6 dolmens marked with mysterious glyphs. Something has been loosed from a dolmen that is unmarked. What has abandoned this place? An armored figure comes out and questions Breeze. This area holds forgotten gods, a sanctuary created by Mael for gods without names. Breeze fights and defeats the Guardian. The Guardian admits that he is a failure, that Mael has not been here for thousands of years, and that one of the gods has been made a slave. The Guardian tells Breeze the name of the forgotten gods. Breeze awakes then, and the Seda thinks if he can find the name of the enslaved god, they can free it. Bug goes and helps with the embalming of a Narek woman. There he meets Un, who's massive. Then Bug returns home and finds Shand. They talk briefly of Ublalapang, and then Bug says he plans to get a contract for the Imperial Palace. Selish meets with Tahul and Shurq and explains how she may use an organism called an Utulu to awaken her and allow her to feel again. Shurq and Selish then go to meet up with Tahul to flirt and seduce. Breeze is recuperating, and he speaks with the eunuch, then the Seda, then the king Asgara Diskanar. Altogether, they speak about Garen Eberict and the Prince Quillis, and worry about the future.
I just want to go on the record. Bryce, Breeze, we really didn't settle on any pronunciations. The first episode came out, everyone offered their opinions, and I don't feel like we've settled it any further.
I'm committing to Bryce.
Yeah, I don't think we've settled on the pronunciation of any other word, so I don't know why we would settle on the pronunciation of this one.
I feel good about Bryce. I don't feel good about Udonis. That's the one I feel worse about.
Udinas.
Yeah, that's because that's super wrong.
Udinas, like that.
We all agreed that Udonis is wrong.
Yeah,
Except
Udonis
you,
can't
apparently.
be it because it's an I, and the I is never made on in its life.
The thing is, I think I'm going to die on in this Paninian Hill over here.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So, Josh, at the start of this chapter, Bryce goes down into into some of the unfinished parts of the Eternal Domicile, and he meets with Ratcatcher Ormley, and this is when really first he gets this idea that he's going to go and have this task to, after he talks to the eunuch, about this Elder Sea God male. And then, of course, later in the chapter, we have this whole thing, and we'll talk about it. But what did you make of... where are you at with the Eternal Domicile and the court as a setting? Because here we're really examining the building, and there's a little bit more about it, but I just wonder where you're at with this whole establishment and this little scene with Ratcatcher Ormley.
I think I've got it pretty well down. I really enjoy... I think I've said before, I love this Letheri society and how just silly it comes across a lot of the time. I love that the king is like, well, I'm gonna become a god, may as well have a pretty dope house. But apparently has not thought through much other than the design. I love it. Also, the rat catcher just floating down the river as like covered in armor made of rats is something that will haunt me till I die. But I did love every second of it as I was reading it.
Love the rat catcher. Love the catching of rats.
Yeah, he's incredible. And I really like that Bryce really brings this dry humor to everything he does. It worked very well as a counterpoint to Ormley just being like, "Yep, got some rats. Y'all didn't think they'd get me, did you?" That's how his voice sounds in my mind.
I kind of love seeing the Eternal Domicile not really finished and kind of having the palace be kind of eternally under construction, but not really having a destination or going anywhere. I think is obviously reflecting on Lether society and the ideals they hold.
And there's examples of like things like that in history, right? Of like emperors or kings like trying to build a great thing and it just being so impractical it never finishes. I feel like there's a couple examples of that throughout history.
No, that's never happened.
Never? Okay.
Never.
What about the Sagrada Familia?
I was joking.
I didn't have a name of anything prepared.
I do.
Wait, what is the Sagrada
Fucking
Familia?
India's here with the names. All I could do was make a joke. Inja's here with the facts.
It's that really big church in Spain. It's always under construction. It's really beautiful.
There's one. You know what? That made me think. There's one in.
But he was like an artsy person.
Maybe in India. There's some other huge thing like that. That's. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's pretty. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Okay, well, the point stands. And now what I was gonna bring up next is, so later Bryce has this whole vision that he follows males, this male quest onto, and we'll get to that. But first, then Bug and Tihol kind of have this another meeting, and they're planning together about when it would be good for Shurq to infiltrate Garen Eberick's house, and they're planning together. I think I've heard least about you and Tihol. Where are you at with him and his schemes and Bug, and where are you at with this Bedek brother?
Okay. Okay. So I don't know if it's just me. However, I do think that they're very fun and funny. I get all that. Humor, yes. What is going on? Couldn't tell you. I think it's just me. It's fine. But I do think that I kind of get that they want to, I know the overall theme, but everything else, like everything that they're doing, making that dead woman alive, all that shit.
Oh, I love that.
Don't know why. Couldn't tell you. I enjoy them. I hope that whatever they plan to do gets done, the whole overthrow whatever, I'm not sure, get rich or die trying. That's all I got.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I think there's an element there that is purposeful. I mean, they're definitely kind of
But I don't know
hiding
what's
some of the.
purposeful and what's not. And I don't know what I just don't understand and what like actually I'm not supposed to get. And that's just the obvious running theme of me with every one of these books. So
I feel like India. I feel the same way in a lot of ways. So I don't think I think in a lot of it is meant to be, because we're seeing the what. We're never getting to see the why until like it all comes crumbling together, or falling together at the very last moment. And it's also mixed with the fact that Tehol just kind of, I don't like. He does not like when he makes a promise, he does it. So like he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll make you feel pleasure and look like a human. So like that's a whole thing we have to see. But like, is that going to impact his plan? I don't think it's meant to. It's just like a fun scene we get to have.
Yeah, that's the.
I'm sure it will impact his plan because that's what Steve do. But
Yeah. It's the I scratch your back, you scratch mine situation.
yeah. Except in this case, it's you scratch my back and I implant an organism into your body so that you can feel pleasure again.
Yeah, I give you a parasite that makes you.
You will have to feed it dick, but you're going to die.
That fucking Jesus.
it's such an interesting
So-
concept. Has anyone seen the movie Teeth?
Yes.
I have seen the movie Teeth. Anywho, so before
Can I
we
ask you a
actually-
question?
Yeah, go.
What do you guys of the Biddick brothers? Who do you think's hottest?
Briss.
And I know I think it's Briss.
It has
I do
to
think
be.
it's Briss because Hull's too broken, right?
There's no way it's not Hull, and I will die on this hill.
Actually,
Really?
what is Hull's
Stop.
age? 'Cause
Stop.
I can't
Back
tell.
up. Hold on. New question. Fuck, marry, kill. Hull, Briss, Tehol.
Ooh.
I am marrying
easy choice.
Tehol.
Easy choice.
I
Easy choice.
got mine. I got mine. Easy for me
Okay,
too.
I'm going to easy choice. Fuck Hull, marry Tehol, kill Bryce.
What?
I'm next. I fuck Bryce. I kill Hull. I
hold on.
marry Tehol.
Okay, India.
I'm gonna fuck Hull, marry Bryce.
Yeah, I saw
Please.
this one coming.
Kill
Yeah.
Tehol.
India has
Sorry.
it. India has it right. Josh, I cannot
How?
believe you would say you would marry Tehol and
I
spend
would
your
marry
whole
Tehol.
life with
in
him.
a
When I
goddamn
kill Tehol,
heartbeat.
I just take his money, man. Come on.
You'll never find that money. There's too many layers.
I would marry into the money, baby.
Yeah, exactly. All I'm trying to do is get a sugar daddy. Please.
That's straight facts. But also, it's not like he uses where's the money? If I could see the money, Briss,
He doesn't need to spend the money. It's buried underground.
It's tied up in investments. He's not very liquid right now.
And that's the problem. And that's why he has to go.
Breeze just seems really sweet. you
AJ,
know?
did you go?
I think I agree with you. Fuck Hull, kill Tehol, and marry Breeze.
All right. I just want to say final point, and then we should. But there was a discussion about whether Bryce was like cut or like a soft boy, and I imagined him as a soft boy, and I
He's
just
a
want to
soft
get on
boy.
the record about
He
this.
is a soft boy, a lithe soft boy.
Hull is a soft boy.
Hull is a soft boy? No way.
Hull's
Full
like a
dad
mountain
bod.
of a person.
Do you know what
Full.
soft means?
Yeah. I think Hull has like a built dad bod. I think India's
Hull
right.
is fucking brittle. Hull
Yeah,
is strong until
wait,
he is
isn't
tacked and then
Bryce
he
the
crumbles.
finad?
Yeah, we're talking about
He's the-
Bryce.
So of course he's cut.
No, you can be good at fighting and not also chiseled.
No, that's not the fantasy trope of it all.
All right.
Nah, you're
now
not
that
wrong.
let's set this great analysis down.
Tweet
Can
at
we,
us.
join
Fuck,
our
marry, kill.
Join our Discord and let us know who you'd fuck, marry, kill between the Bennett
Yeah.
brothers.
So now that we've gotten that great conversation out of the way, let's
Thanks,
turn
Josh.
to, I would say, kind of the heart centerpiece of this chapter. Bryce kind of goes on an underwater odyssey journey kind of thing. What's that? He meets with the Sita, does some preparation, gets thrown into this tile. Glub, glub, glub. Dolmens, what's that? God's guardian. AJ, what did you take away? You made some big claim like you understood the whole thing. How
I did
it hit
not. I did not say that. I did not say that at all. We were talking last night, and India said, "I don't really know what happened. I know this happened." And I said, "Oh, also he fed his blood to the water or something." That's really kind of all I got. No, I thought this was very interesting. I missed the getting sucked into a tile part of it. I didn't know where he was the whole time. But is that a hole?
That's how he got in through the dolmen tile.
Right, but is that like a hold? Like where was he? What is that?
I feel like
It was a question, not a
So I feel like AJ, you know how what's his face Perrin can like travel through the shit and like see them.
Right.
I feel like the Sita's machine can send people's consciousness to places.
Okay.
Which seems pretty fucking important to have known.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if that was like technically a hold or like what that was considered. No, I thought it was great though. I do enjoy when Breeze was like, "Oh, I have to." So he meets with whoever, and they're like, "Okay, you're gonna have to go kill Mael," and he's like, "Oh, all right." And he goes asks the Sita Kurkan, he's like, "Okay, how do I do this?" And he's like, "You'll figure it out. I think you're a resourceful dude." And
Why don't
Breeze
you
is
go
like,
in there?
He's like, okay, sure, and then just pops in. I thought the fight was cool. The water's neat, and then he cuts his hand and feeds it. So the dolmen is just like a big obelisk, right? Like it's just like a big tower with runes on it or something.
I looked it up, and that's not the actual definition, but that is 100% how I imagined it too, AJ.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little different, but I think you kind of get the gist.
Yeah.
And what did you make? Let's spin it around. Inge, what did you make of this? 5 of them have this, the hold and these prisoners and these forgotten gods. But what's that? There's a missing one. A god has been enslaved, Only learning its name will free it, What do you think's going on? Where'd this god go? What's up?
Peter, I told you yesterday, I got nothing from this scene. A, I had no idea what was going on. B, I thought it was so boring. And C, all I knew was that he was talking to a god and needed to remember names, and then he fell asleep. That's all I got.
All right.
I don't know
Josh,
what it means.
Josh, do you got more? I guess I erred, Inge. I erred.
Yeah. Do you want to just like say what happened in like non-Steve words?
Well, what do you think's going on with this god, bro?
Yeah, okay. So gods have the power of gods is that people know them. We've learned that ascendants become ascendant when their name is just like hallowed, basically. And so when people forget who a god is, they slowly die. That's what's happened to the elder gods like Krull. They've become weakened because people don't know their names as much. So these are a bunch of elder gods who probably weren't quite so powerful as Krull, who their names didn't last. So Mael, elder god of the sea, was like, look, I can like give you a home and then you won't literally cease to exist. But then Mael just kind of left them. There is that guardian guy who's there. I don't really know if he's a god or was created by Mael or something. But basically, it seems like the Warlock King came down there, like discovered these guys within the, Mael's warren, domain, whatever you want to say. And he kind of enslaved one of them, and it seems like the idea is that if they can figure out the name of the enslaved god, then they will give him power to break out of the Warlock King's control, more than likely, or some bullshit.
Got it. I did not get that part, but
What?
This is a very common. It's a wicked common trope that like names have power in fantasy things, and this is like a very, very literal manifestation of that.
That's who the Warlock King is using? That's what we're going with?
Yeah, so the Warlock King, they thought the Warlock King was using Mael, but rather the Warlock King has enslaved an elder god who, I mean, more than likely is like mad, you know what I mean? Like probably doesn't have a great consciousness, especially now that he's had his mind enslaved, it seems like. And so that thing probably doesn't even know its own name, but if someone can like remember its name and probably say it to them, that's probably what it needs to. In most fantasy books, that would be how it snaps out of the control and like breaks free or some shit. I don't know what's what happened in this book, but
I roll.
Sounds like you're saying some pretty negative things about the Warlock King, and Hannon's like a chill guy. So, I
don't know if chill guy is how I would describe him. I will say the scene at the beginning of the chapter with the elder god coming out of the water was actual nightmare fuel, because I have a fear of the ocean, and I was like, this is why I'm afraid of it. What if an elder god comes out?
I will say in these chapters and a few relating up to it, I feel like the ocean imagery is even more on display. A lot of sea talk, salt in the ice, a lot of ocean stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Saying keep an eye out,
Midnight Tide.
At the end of the chapter, then we see Bug a bit. He returns home after helping these Narek and meeting with this teen. And then we go off and we see Salush and Shurq, and they put in this Utulu.
That's like that's the most phonetically spelled out word, and you can't fucking say it.
And there's this whole refreshing scene. So, what'd you make of what Shurq Elalle's up to, Inge?
Which one is that?
Undead assassin.
The undead woman who just
Love her. Love
10
that
out of
whole
10.
thing. Love that little Ulatu thing. Utulu. Love it all. I don't know what she's up to. I wonder when so now that she's all like living and beautiful again, what happens to little Kettle? Is Kettle just going to continue to kill people and just live her little dead life, or what?
Yo, who the fuck is Kettle gonna end up being? Like, she has gotta be some ancient being, right? Like, they're hinting at some shit. I'm so curious. Cannot wait.
I love that scene when they were like, oh, so like, what, like, I don't know, I think Shurq said it's like, oh, well, it's because Kettle's killing all those spies.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Yeah.
what spies? It was good.
I like her.
Mhm.
Oh, Kettle or Shurq?
Both.
Both.
And then finally, there's a brief scene of the king, Bryce, and the eunuch and the Sita all worrying about the impending great meeting. So, Josh, how do you think this meeting between the Lether and the Eater are going to go?
I just want to first say it is so refreshing to have a king not be an absolute fuck up. Really love that this is a good king who knows what's up. Maybe a little eccentric, just a tad bit, but love him. Also, I mean, I read the next 2 chapters, so I know what the Eater think. But at this point, I definitely was like, I guess it's going to end up in like a fight at the thing, you know, if words get too cross. The prince is really being primed to like be terrible and say the wrong thing, and then, you know, his protector's going to have to just like slaughter Eater as they run away. That's what it feels like it's setting up to, but I don't know if that's really what's going to happen or not.
Well, I guess we'll see now, won't we?
Yes.
All right.
Before we
Lodge,
move
what do
on,
you got before we move on?
Before we move on, I know we've kind of left this in the past because we have it straight from the horse's mouth that Steve is not a weeb, but at the bottom of at the end of this chapter, there is some evidence that Steve may be a weeb. Where
What?
So Kurakan and Breeze are talking after the king leaves, and we're talking about Kurakan. Says the lenses covering his eyes flashed with reflected light, which is an extremely anime thing. If you guys have ever seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, the main like the kid's dad, he pushes his glasses up and they do that thing where they like reflect the light for a second. Yeah, that's extremely anime shit. Steve, I'm so sorry, but you keep putting anime in your books.
Caught him. Sirakun's glasses be flashing.
It's true.
Before we move on into chapter 7, we just want to take this moment to thank all of our new patrons who have joined us since the last time we recorded.
We'd like to thank the following backers. We got Ryan, Jason, Charles, Chris, Havard, and Matthew.
Thank you all so much for your generous donations. We really, really appreciate it. They keep coming in every week, which is just a wild thing. I keep waiting for them to stop, and y'all just keep throwing your dollars our way. So thank you so much, and here is chapter 7. Chapter 7. Saren's group approaches the Hyroth settlement. Tonight, they will meet with the Warlock King. Saren speaks with Hull about acceptance, Letheri society, and armor. Saren approaches Mayan and asks her to welcome the Nerek. Mayan gives her blessing. She then commands Featherwitch, and Saren thinks she's heard that name before. Featherwitch has gone to find Udanas. Udanas tells Featherwitch he sees her in his dreams, and they speak about Mayan together. Hull speaks with Saren more about Mayan, the First Empire, and creation myths of both Nerek and Eater. The Wraith Wither appears to Udanas in shadows. They speak of a forest and of a sky keep. Then Udanas has a vision. The duo watch Menandere and Sakol Ankadu approach their father, Osirk. Together, they drag Scavendari Bloodeye's daughter, Sheltha Lore. They speak of Tiam. Osirk claims he fought Animander Rake and says Scavendari has escaped. Osirk's daughters plan to imprison Sheltha Lore in the same Azath where Silcha's ruin is imprisoned. They worry that Scavendari might try to free Sheltha Lore, but Osirk says Bloodeye is imprisoned. After their father departs, Menandere and Sokol talk about Animander Rake and Sheltha Lore's children before rearing into dragons. Then Udanas awakes. Saren wonders about Letheri slaves and Featherwitch. She talks briefly with Udanas, who says the slaves still keep track of their debt, and he mentions that Featherwitch will cast tiles tonight. Hull wonders with Saren why the Sengar sons have been sent away before the great meeting. Saren dismisses his concern. Saren, Hull, and Baruch then meet with the Warlock King, and he officially welcomes them into the Eater's company. The Warlock King speaks to them about the coming meeting, about Hull's presence, and about what he will say to the Lether. Afterwards, the rain begins. Featherwitch then casts the tiles. She speaks of all the holds and then speaks in Jaghut and Draconian, leaving everyone with a sense of unease. Then Saren Padak staggers outside. Now, into the cold rain.
So, Inge, with the Sengar brothers away, this chapter, although Udonis isn't a part of it, and there's this long dream flash thing, I would say it's mostly rooted from Saren's point of view. And it starts with her and Hull approaching, and they're speaking about the Narek, and eventually the Narek get this blessing from Mayan. So, what did you think about the Mayan choosing to bless the Narek and kind of give them she taking this authority to give them the passage? And what did you think of Saren at this part?
I wondered why she had the authority to do that, because I feel like they were all kind of surprised that she did, and also why it was such a big deal that she did. Also, the Narek, why are they said they're godless and whatever, and so they couldn't eat or do anything unless they were, like, given the blessing by them. But, yeah. And they explained why. I just still don't get why. Like, what is the issue there? Is it just the way they are?
Yeah, just customs.
And they're also, the body that Bug was preparing was also, so just this group of them happened to be with Baruch, right?
Yeah, they're one of these border tribes that have been colonized by the Lether.
Okay.
And then, like, the Eater are the next ones. Do you know what I mean?
To be colonized.
Well, that's what the Letheri want.
Yeah, that's, like, kind of what's happening, right?
What? Oh. How do you... Okay. I didn't realize that. I just thought they were going to, like, talk about the seal thing.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, I think... I don't mean to... I know I'm putting a little spin on the Letheri's actions there, but...
No,
this is a no-spin zone.
I guess that's how Pete sees it.
That's the bigger picture, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, that's what the king is worried about. Is that the queen? It looks like the queen sent those ships to instigate a conflict with the Eater on the pretense of, at this meeting, it sounds like the prince will make some outrageous demands in return, and then the Warlock King would be forced to go to war. And the Lether think that in a war they would easily win, or at least the queen thinks that. Okay.
And now, when they got there, are they, like, surprised that they're so, like, established?
Well, Saren, it's more like, because Saren's been there a bunch. Actually, all three of these guys have been there a bunch. I think the difference, India, is until literally, like, a year ago in this world,
they all weren't together. They were all
constantly fighting, yeah. And seeing them all unified, I think they're kind of like...
shook.
They got shadow magic. They got fucking... They kind of are, like, they could live forever. I don't know, y'all.
They have a Warlock King with some sons.
Also, I forgot about his hostage sons.
Yeah.
Hey, can we talk?
I love my adult sons.
Guys, they're definitely all gonna get sacrificed in some sort of big summoning ritual or some nonsense. That's like... It really feels like it to me.
I really actually like this chapter. And I thought it showed, like, a lot. I don't know, like, it's interesting to read about the Eater people from, like, a different perspective, from Saren's perspective, because I think that it just, I don't know, like, she brings up some interesting points about, like, how the Letheri slave people are, like, there for no, like, what, like, I don't know. I didn't really think about the Letheri slaves that are Eater, whatever, the Eater slaves. But now I'm just kind of like, why are they still there? I don't know.
I also didn't realize until this talk that the only Tisty Eater POV that we get is Troll. I didn't even think about that. So India's right. It's so cool to get to see, like, the only POV we're gonna get now until the brothers are back is from non-Eater in this settlement. I think that's really interesting.
Even weirder, they're gonna cast Troll out at some point. So that's like,
yeah, true.
I keep wondering, like, when is the other shoe gonna drop for our boy? But yeah.
Inge, I think you bring up a great point.
Stop. When is the other shoe gonna... Is that a saying I've never heard?
The shoe drop? Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard this. I thought Indy just made that up. All right.
No!
I'm so sorry.
So, Inge, I think you bring up a good point in that Saren really, in some ways, is kind of our surrogate at this moment. Although she's already... Of course, she knows some of the Sengar brothers, and she's been with the Eater before. She is kind of an outsider to the Eater civilization and coming to it like us. So I think you're prodding on it. Is there anything else that resonated here? There's this scene with Feather Witch when she goes to speak with Udonis, and what do you make of their little relationship that they're having?
I just don't get why she's being so, like, rude all of a sudden. Like, she's like,
Preach.
You are just not allowed to speak to me, and I'm actually not visiting your dreams.
And India brought this up too. Like, it's so weird to me that, like, she's still calling him indebted, but they're both slaves. Like, they're both
You're indebted too, girlfriend.
Yeah, it's just so strange because, like, he was, I know that Udanas was indebted before he came, but how is that still a stigma when you're literally a slave to another culture? Like, how? It blows my mind.
Yeah. She has some energy about her, for sure. She's there, like, what, Inge? What? Really
quickly, okay, so Saren also is like, her name is Feather Witch? I haven't heard that name since, like, historic whatever, and they
Feather
were really...
Witch has been dead for 40 years!
Yeah, no, she says almost that exactly, yeah.
But do the Eater not know that? She has this history about her name and like what she can do. Do they know like the how powerful it appears she's supposed to be?
Well, they know she cast the tiles because her mom cast the tile. Like, for generations they've been slaves here, and the women have cast tiles. So I think they know that, but they might not understand that. Like, they might see casting tiles as like, oh, those Letheri doing their little rituals and such, but they don't know. They don't know that it can like fucking actually bring gods down from the earth or some bullshit. So
also, I just don't love, like, I don't know, like I just feel like the slaves there just seem kind of like chill. Like, they're just like, yeah, we just like live our lives here. It's like it's just like a very like resigned slave, I suppose. Well, it's really very strange. I mean, obviously, but
it's very strange because I thought the same thing, India, and you were saying, they were like, why are they just slaves? Or like, why are they still there? And obviously because like the Eater won't let them leave.
Right.
But like in the case of Udanas, it's very strange to think about. He's living this life of servitude, but like in some ways he has decided that preferable to being indebted, because if he goes back to Lether, India, not only is he indebted, if he ever has a kid, that kid is born into debt because Udanas was born into debt. So like, I guess in some ways he sees being a slave as like a way out of that existence.
But they're still born to be slaves.
Yes, I don't know, India. It is
very weird.
I guess unless I'm living that experience, I'm not fully going to comprehend it.
Yeah, I think later on there's actually that discussion. I think Saren, I think she talks about it and then she reflects on it. She's like, well, what's like this difference between this and being so indebted and being enslaved, and is there freedom, and what's the relationship with this? And I agree that passage definitely struck me as a bit strange. And I agree with you, Inge. I mean, the idea that Udonis is owned by these people and he is property,
and he's just like, yeah, that is me.
Yeah.
This is my life. It's just so,
I don't know.
It's very fucked. And it just struck me in this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
slavery is bad.
I think I don't know how I feel about this as a depiction of slavery.
But that's what I was thinking of. It's very interesting to think about.
Yeah,
anyway,
agreed.
I digress.
You digress. No, we're talking about the books, baby. We can't digress.
Talking about books, baby.
Sorry, I've been looking for different quotes as you guys keep bringing stuff up, and I keep flipping around the book to try and find different quotes. But this last one I actually wrote down.
Come on, quote boy.
Talking about how weird the slave stuff is. and like why they're just kind of settled with it. And I think a part of it is, we only see it from Udanos's perspective, but I think a part of it is like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what are we as the fairy slaves supposed to do about it? Because like, if they free themselves, they're freed, but then in the eyes of like, if they killed all the Eater or whatever, they're like, okay, they're not slaves technically anymore. But in the eyes of the Letheri people, they're still, indebted or whatever. And Udanos has this whole passage about the fallen and what happens to the fallen.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, it's a great passage. Why don't you read it?
So yeah, I'm just gonna read it. Fallen. Who tracks our footsteps, I wonder? We who are the forgotten, the discounted, and the ignored. When the path is failure, it is never willingly taken. The fallen. Why does my heart weep for them? Not them, but for us. For most assuredly, I am counted among them. Slaves, serfs, nameless peasants, and laborers, the blurred faces in the crowd, just a smear on my memory. A scuffing of feet down the side passage of history. Can one stop? Can one turn and force one's eye to pierce the gloom and see the fallen? Can one ever see the fallen? And if so, what emotion is born in that moment? There were tears on his cheeks dripping down to his chafed hands. He knew the answer to that question, knife sharp and driven deep. And the answer was recognition. So it's just like, I think ultimately there is not really any power for these people, even if they were to see their own way out, because they need to be recognized or recognized by society at large, and society needs to do something about it. Because even if they free themselves, it's still gonna keep happening, and there's still gonna be these people,
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely less about an actual institution of violent slavery, which I think, as writing about it, is not really that much on the page, right? I think it's much more about those people who are in debt slavery or in like so indebted that they feel like becoming a slave would be better for them, Right. And like he is trying to maybe, I don't know, Udonis feels so lost that he thinks, I don't know, relinquishing what freedom he has would be better. I don't know. I really don't. That's a whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's more about that feeling of a distinction between how indebted are we, what is, what is economic freedom, but obviously slavery is a different thing,
Yeah. So I just like that passage, and I think it speaks to a lot of like people on the quote unquote fringes of society and stuff, and like, homelessness and all this stuff. And it's nothing's going to change if society at large doesn't do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about this passage too is, it's about the fallen, which is obviously of concern to these 10 very big books.
It's the book.
The book of the fallen, yeah.
You could say.
Whoa!
You could say this book is about fallen, the fallen, you could say. Maybe.
Could say it.
Which is interesting, actually, kind of recontextualizes the entire series in my head in that way, because like the fallen to me was like, oh, everybody dies because there's a big war that happens, but now it's like, oh, the fallen are like also just like regular people who society has let down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Heavy stuff.
Man, you guys are doing all this. You're doing this heavy shit, and then I'm like throwing fuck, marry, kills out here. I really feel like I gotta.
It's a perfect balance, dude. The yin and yang,
Yeah.
So, Josh, this also includes a conversation between Paul and Saren about the First Empire, and then they talk about creation myths. What did you make of this little creation myth conversation? Because as we've learned a little bit more about how the Tist Eater look upon their own creation.
Yeah, I don't know, man. All I get, whenever the people talk about this kind of stuff, all I get is that, like, I'm sure I should get something important out of this, but it is really past me. Like, I don't know. I'm sure, like, 5 paragraphs later, another sentence was said that I'm supposed to be like, wait a minute, I don't know. I don't know why it's important that I know the Narek think they come from mothers who are hard to distinguish in their language. You know what I mean? And that they're all the godchildren of the godmother. I do not know what that means. It's so confusing.
And I wanted to shout out here, there's a little bit of talk about patriarchy within New York society, which is just an interesting further glimpse into how gender is sometimes constructed in this world, which I think is something I keep my eye out for, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like I understood, shockingly, the whole tile reading with Featherwitch better than I did the talk about creation myths, which is saying something because I missed most of the tile talk.
I gotta say, we're gonna get let's get to the tile reading at the end of it, because it's time. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna start with AJ. Udonis is there, and he's with Wither, and what's that? Another mythic, ancient dream time. We see some crazy stuff. What did you get? How much did you understand?
Can I be rude and ask a quick question? I'm so sorry. Because it is from my understanding. Osric is not Osric, but they are cousins, brothers, half-brothers?
Huh?
Osric and Osric?
Osric, is not Osric.
They're not the same, but they are related, right?
Who are
Osric?
either... Wait.
Okay, so last book, the high elf guy, I can't think of his name.
Laoric's dad.
Laoric's dad was Osric, and they are the Tisti...
The King of Light or whatever.
The Tisti Loth?
Leosion.
They're like the light, magical people. And then now we're with the Eater, who are like the darkness magical people, as opposed to the Andii, who are the shadow magical people?
No, you switched them.
Versed them. The Andii are the dark magical people, and the Eater are the shadow magical people. But the Eater have a father, Osric, not to be confused with the Osric.
Actually, Josh. Osric has many names. Osric is one of them. They're all the same person.
That is Osric. That is the guy who leads the Tistilosion. Fuck this book. Because I was about to be like, Steve, how are you going to have like literal relatives with the same goddamn name?
Fuck this book, dude.
What? So those three were Leosian the whole time? I, in my head, were imagining Tisti Eater.
No, they're all Leosian.
Those are his
it's just
fucking
one
daughters.
dude. His name's Osric.
Wait.
Okay,
dad.
Yes, that was Laoric's dad.
Yeah, that's Laoric's dad.
And
He's old.
So
yes.
Well, yeah, they live for a long time. And
so those were Laoric's sisters because they were Osric's daughters.
Yes, which means Laoric is sisters of daughter Dawn and the other one who's like the finicky one.
Shit, so all the
Dapple,
scary
the
gods are Tistilosion? I thought the Tisti Eater thought all the scary gods were ancient Tisti Eater. So they're Tistilosion.
Oh my god.
Who is?
I hate
this sucks.
Wait, you guys are confusing.
I have to reread the whole section now.
Let's start from the beginning. So Udonis is talking.
Actually, this is the time I'm actually gonna break out my surprise. I made a chart.
Fuck. This is what we need. Oh my god.
Oh yes, please.
And I don't know if you can see it because of the way the webcam works.
It's pretty good.
But, okay, so look. Here is Father Light, and here is Mother Dark, Mother Dark makes the Tist Andy.
This already makes so much more sense just seeing it with this.
And the Tist Andy, there's three important brothers: Animander Rake, Andarist, and Silchus Ruin.
This is so good.
That you know them.
Yeah.
And then over here is Father Light, and Father Light makes the Tist Leosian, and we have Osric.
Also
he's here.
known as Osric.
Also Osric, also that. But what's that?
Osric.
Mother Dark, Father Light, they together make the Tisti Eater,
which is Shadow. Okay, this makes sense.
And the head of the big head shadow leader is Scavendari Bloodeye,
who is in the prologue, and then we assume dies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is kind of, I would say, the first generation of important Tist people right now.
This is so helpful.
They're not cousins. They're just all leaders of these races.
Got it.
Okay.
Osric, Scavendari Bloodeye, and the three.
They're like third cousins.
Yeah, they both came from Father Light and Mother Dark in some way.
All right. The good news is the Tist Andy no longer become relevant.
Great.
All right. So right. Well, they're just over there because when we're talking this family tree thing. So Osric has kind of a kid with Tiam, the dragon goddess.
Oh yes.
It's kind of not what it is. But
hey Steve, come on, Tiamat from D&D. Come on,
dude.
Osric has. This is the two people we just met, Menendor and Sokol Andur. You know, these are these two women who have difficult to pronounce names.
Okay.
And then over in the middle is Scabandari Blood-Eye's daughter, Shurq Elalle.
Who is being dragged by them.
Yes.
Yeah, she's being dragged by them. And side note, yes, they're cousins because of TM. You know, but TM, let it be noted, is not actually their mother, but they're all dragon soul taken. So, like, because of their dragon blood, they're kind of cousins. You know,
right?
I'm gonna puke. I'm gonna throw up.
They all come from TM, but not literally.
So, just a little sub point. Shurq Elalle had kids with Draconis, and this is the third generation.
Yes.
That's Lady Envy and Lady Spite.
And that Draconis person drags the cart.
Yes, that's Draconis. Yes.
Yeah, he got killed and is in the cart.
He made the sword that Animander Ray wields.
And then what?
Wow, Pete,
this makes things clear.
Okay,
so I just wanted to be clear for the record. Maybe I'll tweet this poster, but this poster is not comprehensive, and I wouldn't be surprised if I'm wrong. But I'm just trying to clear up this scene.
I'm telling you right now,
these three women are.
I feel so much better about everything I have read now with this. Peter is a godsend.
Yeah, Pete, this is great. This is really great. We definitely should tweet this, put it in the Discord.
Print it on a t-shirt, sell it.
How dare you hide this until now?
Yeah.
You sat on this until right this moment. We had no warning.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Envy and Spite, the daughters, Lady Envy.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I didn't even put that together. Whoa!
Whoa! Big day, dude.
Did you guys realize that when they said they made the two daughters Envy and Spite? I didn't
realize it in the moment that they said Envy and Spite, but then a couple lines later they say the ladies of Draconis or something. They said the word lady, so my head was like,
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Steve?
Pete, I gotta say, I'm so glad you brought out that fucking chart.
This is incredible.
Wow.
This is a great
I just thought it could help clear it up because the scene's pretty confusing as it is if you would have known who all these people were.
Yeah.
You know?
So what blows my mind now is that now we know the Tista Eater have these god figures who are also Tistologian. Do they know that they're Tistologian?
I don't think so.
But you gotta remember, Menendor and Sokolan could do however you say that name. Do not know. Don't at me. I'm trying, you know.
No, wait, she goes by Dapple as well, right? Or is that a different one?
Do you know what? Let's call her Dapple. That feels like a team
I like
win,
that.
You know?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So Menendor and Dapple are both kind of antagonistic figures to the Eater.
Yes,
that should be known.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
this helps so
well, I guess with some of that clarification out of the way, India, what did you make of this scene, and what did you make of? So they're talking about how these two sisters plan to imprison Shurq Elalle in the Azath along with Sulch's Ruin, and they're like, oh, but wouldn't Scabandari free his daughter? You know. So what do you think of all this stuff, and what do you think about what's happening with this Azath, Sulch's Ruin, and their plans?
Who's Sulch's Ruin? I read that name, but man, nope.
Sulch's Ruin
is the albino brother of Animander Rake and Andorus.
Yeah, he's the Tisty Andy that gets betrayed in the prologue.
Yes. Okay. To be honest, not much clicked about this. I read it, and that's what I read what I read. However, when you ask me to put the pieces together, that just doesn't happen. So, do we know why they wanted to put her in the Azath house? And then their dad comes, and what? I read it.
So
that's all I got. I don't know why.
India,
I don't know what. I don't know anything.
India, as far as I can tell, the Azath houses are the one thing that can just contain whatever is given to it. So if you have a person that you want gone, it seems like the Azath houses are essentially your best bet to just throw them into, and then they're stuck in the ground forever.
And you can't undo that.
Well, except currently the Azath Tower, they are working their way up, and the Azath house is losing its power for whatever reason.
Is there a reason? Do I know why they're doing this yet? Or do I just know that they did it?
Also, I really had a very high opinion of the Tistologian in the last book, and now I really dislike them all of a sudden.
You liked the Tistologian in the last book?
Well, not the most of them. I thought Leoric was chill, and I thought Osric was just a little out there. Everyone else sucked. All right, on second thought, they all sucked. Take it back.
They're just a group of people, you know?
Yeah.
Some good, some bad.
Wow, the wisdom, you know.
It's unending.
So listen, let's leave that there. You know, that it's quite a lot to chew on, you know, and I think it's all right if we're not at 100%, you know. But I want to move now to this dinner with the Warlock King and with Saren and Hull. AJ, what did you make of the dinner with the Warlock King?
I thought it was pretty chill. I don't know, not chill. That's the wrong word, but it was just kind of like, I don't know. It was weird. It felt weird. This is the closest we've gotten to like imperial politics in this book. There's just like a lot of like posturing and like speaking in certain ways and like stuff that we haven't really seen in this book besides kind of Tehol, but that's not even really like political stuff. That's just him being like goofy. So I don't know. I thought it was okay.
India?
I will say I was expecting a lot more than what I was given. I was expecting a fight. I was expecting some bloodshed. I was expecting some magic.
Yeah.
It just was like a petty, sassy conversation.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I was here for it, though. I love the shade.
Yeah.
They were throwing shade, that's for sure. And
not to be confused with throwing shadow.
I would say the Warlock King welcomed them, but I would say he was not very welcoming, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, even when he was like, "Oh, forgive me for eating. I'm very unformal, blah blah blah." Like even that is just like, I don't fucking respect you, and I'm just gonna eat my fucking dinner, you worms. Like,
and he's like, I'm sure you can understand. You guys would get not having any
being hungry,
and courtesy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But why did he send Saren out? And why was she like, he might have just saved my life?
I think it's just because the Acquitter's role isn't like formally isn't to be like in meetings and stuff. They're just to I don't know,
facilitate.
Yeah,
the project manager.
Yeah, right. And I think
she's the kind of project manager for this whole thing.
Yeah. And I think when she says he might have saved my life, I think they just like we're getting they were about to get real heated. And I don't know.
Is this like ongoing then? Because like, are we gonna pick up here? Because it like when we go back, or was that just the conversation? I mean, because it didn't really go, I feel like, anywhere. Yeah,
I think the conversation is going to continue between Hull and Baruch and the Warlock King, but Saren is our POV, so we're not going to see the rest of it. I think we're going to see the aftermath of it, whatever that is.
And the Stolen Sons were standing behind the Warlock King.
Just creepily.
Yeah, and they're all magical as well.
Yeah, they're covered in shadow, yeah.
And we don't know what he's drawing his power from because he lied about it and it's not what we thought it was. Fact?
I think.
PB?
I think so.
Yeah. We don't know. We know that he is using that god. I don't think we know yet exactly how he got the power to get to that god and, like, you know, hold over him. Because it ain't Kurald Ghislaine or Kurald Emerlon or Kurald whatever.
But I thought in the next chapter, that's what they're, like, using. Like Benedus.
Benedus uses shadow magic.
They do draw upon Kurald Amberlane, but when they're on the boat and they kill all of the seal stealers, Benedus is like, that ain't Kurald Amberlane, y'all. That is some other bullshit.
Yeah, that power, that like insane wild power is whatever that elder god power is. But the Eater people do draw on shadow magic regularly.
And we're thinking that the slave god is what he's getting that power from. Is that what we're saying? Or no?
He used that enslaved god to murder all the people on that ship and then to blast all those ships onto the shore. Yes, he has that god under his control.
Yeah.
And, okay, I really like in this little scene when, I don't know who, I think it was Hull who was like, well, those people deserve to die because, the seal stealers, because...
Oh, yeah.
They were like...
I love that.
And then frickin' Wizard King was like, you dumb bitch, that's rude. I feel bad that they're dead, and it's not their fault. They were just doing what they were told. So really, it's the people who told them to do it, who they're indebted to or whatever, fault.
The Warlock King is playing the fucking game. I love it. And he's just like, Hull's gonna be mad. All right, let's just use this one to my advantage. I love it. Yeah. He's just toying with them.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of love the Warlock King here, because usually, and like especially with his name, like it would like he could have like a Sauron Dark Lord vibe, but here he is being totally petty and like, you know, I don't know. It just has
Petty is
he's playing a
exactly
social
right.
game that sometimes a character called the Warlock King you wouldn't see be playing.
Can I say, I hope one day to have the confidence that I could murder hundreds of people and then be like, it's a damn shame they had to die. It's really wrong of you to say that they should have.
Like, it actually wasn't fair at all. But
I didn't want to do it, you fucking monster. I had
The
to.
world is so unjust.
And then before Saren gets like, you know, asked to leave, she's like, she said that the Wizard King, like, you could listen to him speak forever, and
Yeah.
that's a very dangerous thing. And he's like kind of charismatic. Like, should I hate him? I don't know. He hasn't wronged me yet.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say eventually yes.
Hey, I'm pro, you know, you
As of now,
follow your
on.
feelings.
I enjoy it. I love it. I live for the drama.
I think it was super, that line specifically was super interesting because like knowing what the Warlock King has done and his like wild power, and then being like, oh, the way he speaks is very dangerous, is like, that's telling, you know?
No.
Yeah, he's chill. That was good. I liked that a lot. I enjoyed that scene. I mean, I definitely was expecting more, but I kind of like that it was like not what I was expecting, and it never is. So
Yeah.
And final part of this chapter is this reading of the tiles. Josh, how much did you get?
I think at most what I can say is, because I don't have the book in front of me, I recognized a lot of the players in the game, but I did not fully grasp all the moves that they are said to be making, if that makes sense.
And that's about right. Of course, I wouldn't tell you to sweat it, but I just want to brag. I feel like I got more than I got like a fair amount. I would say I like, you know, I wouldn't say 100%, but I pretty much got it. You know, it's like,
On your second reading, I would hope so, bud.
I want to say
yeah.
I had no idea. So if you would like to run that back for Ind, because she was just talking shit, and then it would
definitely.
like go back to like Saren being like, oh,
Yeah.
and Una
I
don't
being
have it
like,
in front of me.
chill. If you don't like it, leave. And I'm like, but what is there not to like?
I got the knight is Karsa, and he's heading towards something, but I can't remember exactly what the wording was. What were the other ones in there, AJ?
I'm
Can you
reading
read
it
a
again.
couple?
I
know you got it in front of you.
After
I'm
this, I'm
looking,
gonna read it
man.
again.
Hold on. We stand upon Dolmen.
I didn't even think that this was something like this is the shit. Because I'm reading this and I'm like, what are you like? Oh, okay.
We talk about the ice hold.
All right. What is the point of her little fable here? Why are these words italicized?
Well,
I am
India,
annoyed.
this is like her. She's like doing like a Deck of Dragons reading, but it's like coming out of her in like a really like she's possessed kind of way. So that's the italicized words, is her speaking in, I imagine, kind of a different voice, because it's the voice of the
when
tiles.
you're possessed by
It's
a
not-
demon and they put that cool effect on your voice.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like double
So if
speak.
he's talking.
Yeah, exactly.
So Josh, there's the hold of ice. There's the hold of the dragon. There's the empty hold.
And
we
what
talk
are the
about
holds?
The Watchers.
The holds
Have we just-
somehow are connected to like the houses. I don't really understand if we fully get it yet. They seem more primordial to me than the houses, but that could be complete conjecture. I don't really know.
That's a word that I don't know. Primordial.
As in like much more ancient, you know?
I see.
Because the houses a lot of the time feel like they are led by the newer ascendants, you know? Not newer, because some of them are fucking ancient also, but these ones feel like they are championed by powers, less by people.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Oh, the one thing I did get here was when Featherwitch is talking about Bone Perch, and talks about how the twin thrones have like crouched the spines of
that's
the
the
thrones of
beast
crest.
hold
It's-
for
the
memories.
hold of beast has found twin rulers, and I was like, ah, ha ha.
And see, that's why I'm like in the third book they keep talking about the beast throne.
Yeah.
And I think they maybe even call it a hold and talk about it being very, very old.
They say the hold of beast, but India, that's Tok and the other wolf.
Tog and
Fenderay.
Tog and Vanderay.
How the fuck did you pull that name out?
Good job.
I know all the female character names.
Nice.
Damn.
But yeah, a lot of shit in here.
Alright.
Let's leave that reading there and move on to the final chapter.
Chapter 8. On a clandestine quest, the Sengar brothers cross the threshold out of Eater lands and into the icy north. In the wastelands are dangerous creatures named Jehek on the ice. The brothers go to spend the night at the bottom of a crevasse. One of their companions discovers a path and they follow it to an altar. In the walls around the altars are animals and bodies caught in motion. They wonder if this is connected to the hold of ice and Gothos. They discuss salt and preserving the sanctity of our past. After a further night of travel, they rest. Rulad falls asleep on watch, and they discover their camp has been robbed of supplies. Together they find then a spar in the snow. Inside is a sword. Fear tells Benatas they must shatter the spar, and Fear reminds them that the Warlock King has told them they cannot touch the sword inside. Benatas is going to destroy the spar, but they are hesitant. Suddenly, a pack of Jahek attack them, and Troll shatters the spar. Battle ensues. Rolad saves them and uses the sword to defend them, but is killed by the Jahek. The others cannot free the sword from their brother's corpse, so they wrap him up and put him on a sled to drag home. They go to travel further back and think on Rulad, feeling guilty, Troll especially. Benatas has broken his hip and the journey back will be even more treacherous. Troll takes the rear guard and defends the party from Jahek as they go back. He finally reaches the group and collapses exhausted. The group is surprised by Troll's fighting prowess. Benatas has used magic to contact local tribal shamans who are going to help them. Troll feels guilty over Rulad's death, worries about what the Warlock King wants with this sword, and thinks maybe it would have been better if they had all died together.
I actually just want to jump in and say, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Steve actually kind of spoiled this during our interview.
Oh.
He said that Midnight Tides is a tale of two sets of three brothers.
Yes, yeah.
But,
3.
But you see at the start of the book, there's 4 Sengar brothers,
I hadn't caught that.
Yeah, I didn't catch the 3. I just remembered a story of brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all right. We all made it through. But
Okay.
Before we get to what happens at the spar, they cross into the ice and, they spend the night at the bottom of this crevasse and they find this altar and there's all these things frozen in ice. Josh, you spoke a bit about the freezing in ice and with that scene in Gothos in that prologue. What did you make of this, these people trapped in ice and this first leg of their journey?
It's honestly pretty terrifying because they talk about how they're literally frozen in motion. And not it doesn't appear like they're frozen fleeing. It's just one instant you're just about to chomp down on some tasty caribou and then boom, frozen for eternity. And that's awful.
But how?
Jagged magic. Because we see
ice
the
hold,
jagged
maybe?
at the beginning of the book. Yeah, the ice hold.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I kind of like this part, and I like them talking about the past too. It's kind of, I don't know, just kind of some Steve thoughts. But then this is really just the beginning. They travel a little more, and they spend the night. And what's that? Rulad fell asleep on his watch. All their food gets stolen. But actually, Rulad totally didn't fall asleep.
Death didn't fall asleep. No way.
He just sat down for 1 second. Okay.
That's what he was doing. He was just closing his eyes for a second. And
Gosh, and
opened them
I don't
and
know.
everything was gone.
Mom, I'm not asleep. I was just resting my eyes.
Troll's reaction was a little aggressive.
Troll fucking smacked him in the head with his
And
spear
then
hat.
had an afterthought of that might have been a little aggressive.
Yeah, but then as soon as they find out all the food's gone, it's just okay, no, fuck this. This kid really shit the bed here. Okay. Fucking Rulad.
Yeah, that good chapter, I would say.
Can I say I love when Steve just gives us one POV for a chapter. We cook through those chapters. I feel like
I agree. I think this chapter is so great, and it really takes you from A to B. It's just a full story in one chapter. Feels great.
Does feel great.
AJ, what did you think of Troll in this chapter? We're going to get to everything that happens at the spar, but what'd you make of... I feel like we learn a lot about him and we see him in this kind of situation of distress.
I gotta say, my sad boy is coming back. I can feel him just getting so sad, and it warms my heart.
Sadness is settling in.
Sadness is settling in. No, this is a different Troll than earlier in the books. He's kind of skeptical earlier, but now he's just straight up like, we shouldn't be doing this. And I don't know. I love him very much, and I feel very bad that his brother is dead.
AJ, I want to loop around to your thoughts about him at the end, because I think it's worthwhile talking about kind of the centerpiece of this chapter, of course, in which the Sengar brothers arrive at this spar that the Warlock King saw in his vision, and with inside is this sword that they ought not touch. And of course, it is ambushed. They have to destroy the spar. And then Rulad ends up touching the sword to save them, but he dies, and the sword cannot be removed from his hand. India, what did you make of this set piece and this what happens to the Sengar brothers here?
When they all get attacked?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know what exactly they were thinking, that they were going to be the only people here, and then their food goes missing, and they're like, yeah, well, we're still the only people here.
No, they knew that Jahek were there, but like they hadn't seen them yet.
They're bad. They're bad for not thinking of camouflaging. So yeah, that was, I mean, to be honest though, I was also shocked, and I thought they were going to die too. I don't know. I didn't know who I thought was going to die, but I thought that this would be the scene where like something happened, Troll fucked up, and then this is like, every time I see him, I just wonder what it's going to be that makes him like fucked up. At the end to where we started in our last book. But anyway, I have all the same questions that he has. Where was Rulad? Where was he when this whole thing was ensuing? And I know that the brother said that he like had went in to go get the sword, but I don't know. Something very strange about this whole situation. And maybe it's because I read it from Troll's point of view and he feels that there's something strange about this whole situation. But I agree. I just feel like a lot of the things that happened were easily, like, I don't know. It was strange. Why did he, like, you have this new cool sword, so instead you just, like, scream so that everybody, like, attack, like, you just run. Like, it was just, like, a very, I mean, maybe it's because he's, like, never been in a battle or whatever. Obviously, unlike myself, where I know that you don't just run into a group of people and then
all the battles you've been in.
Stabbed everywhere. But I just feel like it could have been done differently. He didn't have to die, but he had to die for this story. And I wasn't upset about it because I didn't particularly love his character anyway. What is strange, and it makes sense, I mean, I think we all kind of, when somebody tells you not to touch something, like, it's probably a reason as to why I shouldn't touch it. But I just want to know more about this sword. I want to know where it comes from. I want to know if he knew that when he sent those brothers there that this was going to happen.
Yeah, Josh, so
curious.
What did you make of this set piece? What do you think's going on with this sword, and are you mourning the loss of Rulad Sengar?
Not mourning the loss of Rulad. I'll get that out there.
Oof.
I'm fine. Secondly, no idea about this sword. I mean, it is a fantasy book, and swords are pretty important. We've seen, you know, Dragonapur. What was the one that Andorist had? What did he call it?
Vengeance?
Sorrow? Or
Guilty.
I think it was Vengeance and then Sorrow.
Sadness.
I don't know. There's that big sword, and I guess this is another cool sword, and now just all the Tisti all are cool sword boys. I don't know. I got nothing, man. We don't know anything about it so far, except it was in a tree growing in the ice wastes, which is already a little sus, and then that it can't be released. So, got nothing. Yes, India?
I kind of quickly, is there any other question regarding this specific topic, or can I bring something up slightly unrelated but still related to Troll?
Please.
You know when he dreams about his brother's fiance?
Ooh, yeah.
Is he low-key in love with her and that's why he's pissed off at Rulad?
Ooh. Oh, I want to talk about this too. I don't know about that.
I don't know, but I was like, this is weird.
I think so.
Why didn't I think of that sooner?
Because Troll didn't think about it. We were in Troll's mind, and he just saw it as protecting Mayan, not realize. Because look, Troll's never been horny before, which is a sentence I didn't fully think before saying it out loud. No, that's what they're talking about, India. They're saying that, like, eater dudes take forever to get horny for the first time, and, you know, but the women get horny hella earlier and maybe fuck the slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know nothing's going to happen because in the next book, or the previous book, Troll was still a virgin.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Oh, I forgot
India,
about that.
I hate, what are you doing with your eyebrows?
Remember they talked about it next to the turtle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely super not uncomfortable.
This This is the content I live for. But anyway, back to that really cool battle scene.
Well, let's get to that dream, but I just wanted to ask if AJ had any thoughts about that kind of battle, and if you have any thoughts about the sword. And are you mourning Rulad Sengar?
I do not have many thoughts about the sword. It is a big, weird sword. I just keep imagining that it's Frostmourne from from Warcraft. That's all I see it as the whole time. But yes, I am sad about Rulad dying, which I'm surprised to say. But every time Rulad's in a chapter, part of my notes said, I can't wait for Rulad to do something dumb. And so after he fell asleep at the thing, I was like, oh, he's done something dumb now, but he's definitely going to do something dumber because of this. And then when we find the sword and he does this whole thing to, like, I guess try and redeem himself or whatever, like super dumb. But then the more I think about it, very sad, because he just wants his brothers to think he's cool and good and like knows what's going on, and he doesn't want them to think that he's a fuck up, and so he literally kills himself just so for his brother's approval, pretty much.
Yeah,
which I think is really, really sad. Like this whole time I thought he was just being an asshole because he's an asshole, but he was just trying to be cool in front of his older brothers, which, like, fuck, dude. And maybe this explains Josh and I's opposite ends of the spectrum here, because Josh is the oldest and I am the youngest. Because shit, you just want your siblings to think you're cool.
It hits different when you're the youngest.
You know? Oh, yeah. So I'm actually surprisingly extremely sad about Rulad's death.
Yeah.
Well, when you put it like that, AJ, damn.
Sorry, that's just how I read it. Oh, also, I did want to say, India, I agree. Every time we start reading about Troll, I was like, all right, he's going to do something that's going to get him exiled. Like, here we go. And I was like, he's going to touch the sword, or like tell someone not to touch the sword. And then when Rulad had the sword, I was like, oh, well, fuck. I don't know. I literally have no idea what Troll could do. I mean, I guess if he just says something bad against the Warlock King.
He's literally just going to question everything, and they're going to be like, treason.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. Yeah.
Right. That sucks. I don't know, though. I feel like Steve's setting us up. I think he wants us to think it's going to be that, but it's going to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
Steve would never play a game with you.
Okay,
yeah, that's not his storytelling style.
Yeah.
So after the fight, they kind of recuperate a bit. Benedict's hip is broken, so he has to get on the sled, and they have Troll has to defend them all this. But this is the time when Troll, as you were saying, has these dreams about Mayan. And I like how when he wakes up, he's like, I wonder what those dreams were about. Who knows? You know? And then this is really when he starts feeling so bad and feeling so guilty about Rulad's death, and he's very concerned about what the Warlock King wants with this sword. And he thinks maybe it would have been better if they all died. Inge, what did you make of all his thoughts here? And do you have any ideas what the Warlock King wants with this sword?
I think his thoughts are valid.
But
I also wonder what the Warlock King wants with this sword. What the hell? This
no
question
idea.
is just not a thing. Like, if the sword I don't even understand the concept of it not leaving the brother's hands. So
they just can't take it out of his hands.
It's stuck.
Right. But if he was alive, could he put it down?
I guess it's hand singular, but yeah. But sorry, no, he couldn't put it down. But I wanted to correct myself again.
I don't know, but the Warlock King I have no idea. As is the story with everyone, what their plans are. I can't even think of what it's going to be, to be honest. Yes, AJ, that face.
I just had a thought at the end of Memories of Ice.
Did it?
When we come across Bowden again, but he is the Knight of High House Death?
Yes.
But, yeah, he says Knight. He can't put down his sword either.
I think it's because I think I think there's something else with that. Like it's stabbed through his hands or something. I can't remember. What is
I don't know.
Pete?
That just popped into my head.
It's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt different.
Okay.
I believe
it just popped into my head.
And Knight of High House Death has two swords.
Yeah, he has two swords in his hands.
Okay, but they're in his hand. Like he can't take them out.
Yes.
I think it's because of what happened in life. I don't know though. I couldn't really. Yeah, I don't know. But it's
I don't know. Just popped into my head right now. I don't know. I don't know if it means anything or if they're related at all. But
there are swords that you can't put down.
There are swords. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just annoying. I want them to get back already. That's it. I just want to see what the frick happens.
Yeah. Well, India, good news. At the clip we're going through this book, they're going to come across the Warlock King in like 8 pages. Like, it's going to be quick.
I gotta tell you, I feel like, I gotta say, this feels like a terrible mission they went on as brothers, you know? Go north, get a sword, one brother hurts his hip, other brother dies. Feels like Troll had a bad time, you know?
Feels like Warlock King wants Sengar brothers to die.
You think so, Inge?
Just off the top of my head, he sent them on a mission that none of them should come back from.
No, he definitely wanted the sword. I also think, you gotta remember, like, the Sengar brothers are pretty fucking powerful. Like, you've got the Weapon Master Troll literally single-handedly just murdered dozens of people, and Banatas is the best sorcerer after the Warlock King. Like, it's honestly, and then Rulat. It's kind of the crack team.
I like Troll, how Troll has the same thought as me. When Banatas, like, contacts all these shamans and they show up, Troll's like, well, why didn't we do this earlier? There should have been more of us that went to the spa together, you know?
Not to mention...
I think the Warlock King doesn't want witnesses. He's gonna murder them all when they get back.
But also, when they all get separated and Troll's alone, which was a very weird scene, I was like, is he asleep? Is this happening?
Yeah.
He is taking on many of these Jahek things.
Yeah.
Where was this energy earlier? Is what I'm asking. 1. 2. Had Rulad not touched the sword, would they have all died? Was that the plan? I don't know.
But you know, it's like Troll's being like emotionally overwhelmed, and these like creatures are overwhelming him. He's being overwhelmed physically. You know, it's like
it's a big metaphor for grief.
All he needs to be is isolated and alone, and he can fight all of his demons. Is what you're telling me?
That's like, I would say, probably not the grief tactic. I don't think that's the strat, Inge. You know,
Hey, what's working
but
for
that's
him?
what happened when he was alone.
I guess we'll see.
We should all handle our grief alone. That's what I'm understanding. Here.
I don't. It's gonna get
Am I missing the point?
It's gonna get a big head tilt from PB over here.
Huh?
Well, before we go,
I
guess
want to go.
Before we go, I suppose we're gonna have, since this last chapter is, you know, there's an action scene, but it's kind of a sad one.
Yeah.
So, kind of have a little subdued brother watch. Just one from you. AJ, who's a brother that stood out to you this week? Benedict or Benedict or Sengar?
I think, as always, Breeze is doing some of the coolest shit in this book so far, but I think this week Troll has my heart once more. He's sad. He's going through some shit. Yeah, shocking. He really, I think this is concreted that he's going back to his old / new, because it's the Troll that I know from House of Chains self, where at the end of this book he just ends it in like or at the end of this chapter rather, he ends in like kind of a not a soliloquy, but it's just like a very cryptic, kind of prophetic, would that we had all died, would that we had failed. It's just like very like that heady way that Troll speaks in House of Chains. Yeah. But so Troll's my brother this week.
Josh, brother that stood out to you?
It's gotta be Troll. Come on. Gotta be Troll.
And India?
It's not a fair question. This was very Troll heavy.
Yeah.
In general, if I didn't have to pick Troll, which I obviously do because this was like a lot, I would have picked Tehol because I really vibed and jived with his parts.
Oh yeah, he's having a good time too.
But it is Troll. It is Troll.
Do you know whose week it certainly wasn't?
Roulette.
It's Roulette.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it was not
It was not. Poor guy.
But listen, everybody, let us know what you think of the show. We're 10 Very Big Books on Gmail and Twitter, and we look forward to hearing from you. And next week on the show, we're reading chapters 9, 10, and 11, taking us up to book 3. Having a blast reading the book, and I look forward to continuing the conversation, guys.
Neat. See ya.
Bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, getting the heat in my house fixed tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Like Pete says, you can always let us know your thoughts about this and any of our other episodes on Twitter at 10verybigbooks or via email 10verybigbooks@gmail.com. If you'd like to join the conversation on Discord, you can head on over to bit.ly/VBB and join everyone there. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D, Discord. That link will also be in the show notes. A quick reminder, we will be recording the first episode of the Novels of the Malazan Empire series this Sunday at time of recording. So you have a day or two to get your questions into us on Twitter or on the Night of Knives mailbag channel on our Discord. So if you have any questions or comments about Night of Knives by Ian Cameron Esselmont, head on over to Discord or our Twitter today or tomorrow because we are recording that episode very soon. Moving on, there's some exciting news regarding the growth of the show. We are now officially an LLC with a business bank account. That's a wild sentence. And this is such a huge move, and it is thanks all to our wildly generous patrons and their contributions. Because of your pledges, we are finally able to pay our contributors, including Dan for his art and Jake for his music, me for editing, everybody else for buying books and microphones and all this stuff. We're finally able to pay everybody who works on the show, which is just such a wild thing. It's a really, really amazing feeling. So thank you all so much for your generous donations. If you'd like to check out our Patreon, you can head on over to the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular logo. You can follow him on Twitter at Dan Gesrick for Apple Music Regrets. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode is by the one and only Amaranthin from their album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with their other music on bandcamp.com. Those links will be in the show notes. And 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on December 18th with chapters 9, 10, and 11 of Midnight Tides. I'll talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening. Bug goes and helps with the embalming of a Narek woman. There, he encounters a massive teen named Un.
He can't say it.
I can't say massive teen. Why does it say the word massive?
I don't think he's a teen. I think he's just a fucking man. That's their cousin.
He's a nephew, I thought.
He's their cousin.
He's like a cool teen.
He's just their cousin. People can have cousins that are older, like adults.
I'm just going to say...
a massive person.
Where he meets a massive Narek named Un.
Yeah, where he
massive teen.
He's a massive teenager.
Fucking yoked.
It's just the word massive.
You don't even fucking
He's a
get
massive
it.
child.
Encounters
It sounds terrible.
the large encounter. I'm just gonna say where he meets Un.
A massive Narek.
Yeah, meets Un, comma a massive teen.
Who is massive?
Yeah. Thank you, and.